here is all the vegan food I ate in Osaka, Japan. First on my list is actually my #1 most recommended vegan restaurant in Osaka, which is called Oko Fun Okonomiyaki Bar. This quirky restaurant is located in the Shinsaibashi area, which is actually very close and walkable to the main downtown area, Dotonbori. As the name implies, this restaurant focuses on one dish, Okonomiyaki, which, if you know anything about regional food from Kansai, which is the greater region, or Osaka city itself, you know it is very famous for these delicious savory pancakes called Okonomiyaki. Oko actually has their own vegan version, which in all honesty is a tad bit unconventional. For example, it's a rectangle shape instead of a circle. You can get some vegan cheese thrown on top of it, and you can even get some toppings like potatoes and beans, which isn't typical for Japanese okonomiyaki. However, it was still incredibly delicious. It still felt like I was eating okonomiyaki, not a whole other dish, but definitely with a little bit of a twist on it. They also have vegan Japanese dumplings, which are called gyoza, and these were really delicious and a great appetizer to go along with okonomiyaki. Another cool feature of this restaurant is that all drinks are only about 180 yen, which is about $1.50, including the alcoholic ones. The only catch is that the drinks are self-serve, so you have to go up and get your cup and fill it up and just let the bartender or owner know that you are getting another drink. Besides the food and drink, the atmosphere at Oko is what really makes this place a must visit. The space inside is relatively small, but that's what makes it charming, because it's filled with a whole collection of different decorations with a sort of funky and random twist. Even more miraculously, this restaurant is only ran by one person, the woman and owner herself. I don't know how she does it because there's so much going on as she cooks, serves, gets the bills, cleans up, and this place is very busy. Honestly, I could go on and on about this restaurant, but this is a place that you simply must visit and experience yourself. What a memorable place to visit in Osaka. Now, a quieter but equally delicious place to eat at is going to be called Aju. However, keep in mind that this place is located a bit further north from the Dotonbori area, but it still definitely deserves a visit. The must-have dish here is okonomiyaki. Starting to see a pattern? To me, this was objectively the best and most tastiest okonomiyaki I've ever had. Probably. First of all, it's the right shape, being a circle. That might not really play a big part in its taste, but that's more like the original. Also, it's smothered in traditional fashion with mayo and okonomiyaki sauce, which is kind of like a Worcestershire. It's like a sweet, tangy, not barbecue, not soy, but something kind of like a combination of the two. Really tasty. And it's covered in seaweed, giving it that sort of, for lack of a better word, fishy, umami sort of taste that I would associate with a warm, gooey, savory okonomiyaki. They also had a fun take on yakitori, which is essentially just grilled chicken skewers, which is an incredibly rare dish to find vegan in Japan, for obvious reasons. Now, just like typical yakitori, here each skewer is a different sort of meat. And I'm gonna go over some of the ones that you can try here. They have a momo skewer, which is actually chicken thigh, tsukune, which are chicken meatballs, torikawa, which is sort of like a fatty part of the chicken grilled to a crisp, fatty chicken skin specifically, sasami no ume shiso, which is sort of like chicken breast, but it's seasoned or added with some umeboshi, which is like pickled plum, and shiso leaf for extra flavor. And lastly, sunagimo, which is actually chicken gizzard, or more specifically, it's an organ that would be found in the digestive tract of a chicken. Now, as an ethical vegan, going over these words and terms definitely does not sound appetizing and makes me kind of cringe a little bit thinking I'm eating imitation forms of these actual things, which of course to obtain from a chicken would not be a very fun process. But just remember, these are all made from vegetables. They are all cruelty-free. No animals, of course, were harmed in this. It's just simply an imitation of what would be a typically hard to veganize dish, such as yakitori. So definitely really fun to try this, especially because, you know, it's just from vegetables and no harm was involved in making it. We also tried their koya tofu filet cutlet, which essentially just is fried tofu with a nice little dipping sauce. Not the healthiest option. In fact, nothing so far has been really healthy, but all delicious, salty and savory and tasty. Another good addition to try at Aju. For a change of pace from Japanese food, if you need a change of pace, not everyone does, you can go to this restaurant called Shama Vegetarian Indian Cuisine. At Shama, we actually ordered 2 set meals. Most of their menu consists of different sets. The ones we ordered came with a choice of rice or naan bread, 2 curries, a couple of appetizers, salad or soup, tea or lassi to drink, and a small dessert at the end, all for a relatively affordable price. Wow, that is a lot of things. It was all very delicious and tasty and fill our need for our Indian food craving, but to be a little bit critical, I'd recommend that they put a little bit more salt, maybe a bit more heat, and a bit more spices to really dive deeper into the flavor profile of these delicious Indian curries and breads and everything else included. They also serve Japanese food such as tendon. Now spelled like tendon, but it's not something that connects muscle to bone. This is just tempura donburi, tendon. They also serve a kare udon set, which is a really nice dish to try out as well. So if you want to get some Japanese food, or someone else wants Japanese food and you want Indian, this is a perfect place to fill those needs. They also have some sort of Western food as well, but I would probably prefer to get Indian food at an Indian restaurant, to be honest. Another regional Osaka/Kansai dish that can be easily veganized is going to be called Kushikatsu. Now Kushikatsu is essentially just, again, a skewer, not the healthiest, but with some fried either meat or vegetables. In our case, of course, we're gonna go with veggies. These Kushikatsu restaurants are abundant and ubiquitous across the Shinkansen area. I almost said Shinsaibashi. Too many shins, which is sort of in the southern area of Osaka. Really cool neighborhood that you should definitely visit. I made a video showing off the neighborhood if you want to check out more specifically about Shinkansen. We went to a restaurant called Tengu, which is famous for its red Tengu mask with a massive nose. And here you can just order a variety, in our case, of vegetable kushikatsu, which are a bunch of different skewers. You have a communal tray to dip them in of like a sweet sort of, not salty, but like a sweet, syrupy, there we go, soy sauce mix, which is communal. Sounds a little gross, but keep in mind, nobody double dips, and it is very forbidden and extremely frowned upon. The food was decent in flavor. It's hard to mess up anything that's fried and tasty. I thought it was more fun to just go for the authentic experience because you sit at this big long counter where the cooks are in the middle and there's a bunch of different patrons kind of circling around them. So you can sit next to some strangers, get a few beers, have this sort of a light snack with some cabbage, and then, you know, continue on and maybe save your appetite for another meal later on in the day. Now this one is actually a bit tacky, but I really do think it's a solid recommendation and piece of advice to keep in mind, because the next place is Starbucks. Now please don't click off the video, hear me out people, hear me out. Believe it or not, they actually have a really solid breakfast at Starbucks because they have a vegan breakfast sandwich with an English muffin and some sort of soy meat and like some sort of, I don't know, sauce on it that made it really tasty and flavorful and not too dry. So that was really nice. They also had a vegan donut, which is a good addition to include. And they have vegan caffeinated beverages, of course, whether you want coffee. But when in Japan, I personally like to drink a matcha latte with soy milk because you're in Kansai and you're in Kyoto. Of course, it feels like a more authentically Japanese experience to drink matcha, even if it is in a soy milk latte. Also, keep in mind that many places for breakfast in Japan do not open until later. We're talking like 10 or 11 a.m. So if you're jet lagged or you want to get started on your day early and you're hungry and you want to get something to, you know, sit in your belly before you walk around, or you're trying to maximize your meals and eat earlier so you can eat again later, Starbucks is actually a really good option because they open, I think, about 8 a.m. at least. So keep that in mind, people. Sadly, those are all of the vegan restaurants I was able to eat at in Osaka. However, keep in mind that is by no means all of the vegan restaurants and experiences you can have in Osaka. First of all, just for another piece of advice, I've heard great things about a restaurant called Paprika Shokudo. Now, I heard they have good vegan, Japanese food, and Western food options for a pretty, maybe a little pricey, but it's vegan food, but still supposed to be really tasty and delicious. I also really wanted to try this sushi restaurant, which is located actually near Aju. The name is, and I quote, Sushi Roll Double Quotation Iki. Look it up, I'm not even joking, people. Here they have a collection of vegan sushis, more sort of along the maki roll version rather than nigiri style. And I've heard that the chef is really nice and really likes to make conversation, and it's a small and intimate place, which I love eating at those kind of places in Japan, to be honest, where it feels like it's a hole in the wall, where you might be with some strangers, some travelers, some local Japanese people that you might strike up a conversation with. And most sad of all, I could not find anywhere to have vegan takoyaki, because that is one of the other major regional foods from Osaka, which is like those octopus balls, which of course are not vegan, but I'm sure you could probably veganize pretty easily, but I could not find anywhere to eat them. So please let me know in the comments below if you found anywhere or eaten any vegan takoyaki in your life, because I really want to try it. It looks so delicious. So that concludes my vegan Osaka video, everybody. If you're interested in traveling around to some other places in Japan and you're a vegan like myself, check out my vegan Kyoto video, because I actually was there a lot longer, so I was able to try and give a review and insight in a lot more places than I did in this video. Also, if you're interested in seeing more things to do in Osaka, I'll be making a general video outlining a bigger guide guide of how to maximize your time and have an amazing experience in Osaka and other parts of Japan. So thanks for watching, everybody. Please subscribe if you liked the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.